Hello everyone and welcome back to Euro Football Daily for ERU, the show where we round up the biggest talking points from across the footballing world from the weekend. And what a weekend it was for football, let's face it. It was pretty massive in terms of the results flying in here and there. Joining me to take it apart for your viewing pleasure this Monday is Mikey McCubs. Mikey, how are you? How was your weekend? Did you enjoy the football?
Yeah, thanks Henry. I'm good, thanks. Had a good weekend. Still feeling a little bit worse for wear. It was just very sunny, lots of activities, seeing lots of friends, played football yesterday, then watched the Barca Madrid game last night, or the Real Barca game as it were. Jam packed, and I'm still feeling, I'm still taking it all in really. Felt like a momentous result last night, didn't it, Henry? How are you anyway?
Yeah, I'm good. Completely agree with that. I got a Domino's in.
Nice.
Proper Sunday. Sat down. Just flick through BT Sport with all the Italian football. I even watched a bit of like Venezia, Sampdoria earlier in the day. But like you, just enjoying the sun. Then roll into the Derbi della Capitale. And then, Clásico. What a Sunday for football. It really felt like it delivered. Let's get straight into it with this, with the Clásico, because that is our story of the weekend. Xavi's Barca, I should say, destroying Real Madrid in El Clásico. One of the best I can remember in a very long time. I predicted this to be a 1-1 draw on Continental Club. Mikey, talk us through it, because you're a big Culés man, as they say. You must have enjoyed this.
Yeah, amazing. First of all, what a spectacle in general, because even before Barca got on the score sheet, they did take the initiative, but it was a really end-to-end game in those first 20 minutes, wasn't it? I don't think any of us really expected it to be like that, but Real were very open, Barca were playing super high tempo stuff, the most memorable Clásico in, at least the last 5 years, I feel like. And what a way to end that, what is nearly a 3-year losing streak in the derby for Barcelona. You guys didn't see it either. Before the game, we put out a poll. Close to 5,000 of you voted on that. Thanks very much. 51% backed Madrid, 42% Barca, and 7% went for a draw. So, despite Barca's recent form, which has been excellent, everyone was, the majority were still backing Real. And of course, it was Xavi's first La Liga Clásico on the touchline. What a way to cap it off. And 12, 13 years after that famous 6-2 victory at the Bernabéu in 2009, when Xavi kind of essentially consolidated his position as the preeminent midfield force in world football. And now he's made a big statement in terms of his ability to turn this Barca side around and lead them into a new era, and set his mark out as one of the rising stars in the managerial game. So what a night for him. 4-0 if you hadn't seen the score already. That first half really set the tone, didn't it? Fede Valverde drew a great save from Ter Stegen right at the start, but then, Barca it was wave after wave, wasn't it? Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang nodded home in the 29th minute from an excellent Ousmane Dembele cross. And then Ronald Araujo met a corner to head home 9 minutes later. Not great defending from that corner, but a very powerful header. But I must say it came after what was atrocious from Vinny Jr. going through on goal. And he lost his footing a little bit, but it felt almost as if he'd already decided to take a dive when he could have scored. The goal was gaping open for him. Really poor decision making from him, and then within the minute Barca get that corner that Araujo scores from. So a bit of a turning point, I think, in the game, although I think Barca probably would have had too much for them nevertheless. Aubameyang's double though means he now has 9 goals in 11 games for Barcelona. Only Memphis has scored more for Barca this season on 10. So what a run he is on since signing at the end of January. He's the first player to be directly involved in 3 goals in his first El Clásico in the 21st century. After the game, he was really kind of embracing it as well. Tweeted hello from a finished player. Get that up on screen, whoever's editing this. Hours after the victory, obviously hitting out at Arsenal fans and probably, Premier League and kind of football Twitter in general, who had obviously, written him off at the end of his Arsenal career. It's just, I think credit to Xavi as well for managing, all these new signings and getting them to gel so quickly, because they look like they've been playing together for years, haven't they? And Aubameyang is seemingly the perfect focal point for that forward line. But yeah, it was just a completely rampant display, wasn't it? Barca had 10 shots on target to Real's 4, 59% of possession, away from home at the Bernabéu as well, and completed almost 700 passes. So not quite, Pep Barca. But I think that's the interesting thing about Xavi's Barca, is that, before he came in, it was all about, we need to return Barca back to the Barca way. But actually, I think in some ways, the Barca way, I think the way we talk about it has always been perhaps a little bit superficial. We always think about it as going back to pure Pep Cruyff football, but actually, I think it's more about modernising the club, and that's what Xavi is seemingly doing with the way that they play, isn't he? They are brilliant at keeping possession, but they're also really ruthless at choosing the right moment when to hit that long ball in behind, or up to say Ferran Torres or Pedri. And yeah, Real just didn't know how to deal with those kind of fast, direct attacks. So yeah, I think it's a real kind of sign of how much Xavi has transformed this side in such a little amount of time. But Henry, enough praise for Barca for the time being, because Real did still have a shocker, and there's a number of factors as to why they didn't have a good day, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just to touch on that, I love what you've just said about modernisation of the club being the true sort of Barca way. You're right, the shadow of Pep, you have to step out of it sometimes, and it's not helpful. But I have also enjoyed everyone on Twitter saying Xavi's must be one of the best managers in the world right now. It's like, come on, guys, let's just calm down. I mean, listen, talking of one of the best managers in the world, in my opinion, Carlo Ancelotti, you're right, he had a horrible, horrible game. I mean, his lineup for a start kind of baffled people. Obviously, Benzema wasn't playing in this match, so he decided to line up. Well, we're not quite sure what he decided to line up with. It seems as if Vinicius was going to be playing up front with Kroos or Modric playing as false nine, sort of taking in turns to join him. It never really quite made sense. He had Valverde out on the left wing, Rodrigo on the right. It was just a bit of a disastrous tactical setup in general, and I think there's this amazing stat that's been revealed on Twitter which just shows the dysfunction going on in that midfield. Not quite sure what they were trying to do. I mean, Barca had 18 shots in total, 17 of which came in the Real Madrid box. That shouldn't be allowed to happen. That just shows the glaring areas of space and just defence and midfield not really working together at all. And Ancelotti tries to change it at half-time. He brought in Mariano Diaz and Eduardo Camavinga for Toni Kroos and Carvajal. Didn't work at all, did it? They already were giving up chances within the minute of the second half starting. Then Ferran Torres scored, and Aubameyang had made it 4-0 by the 51st minute. And Ancelotti has to shoulder responsibility for what we saw. It was really bad, and he admitted much after the game. This is a quote from the Italian. He said, "We played badly and I planned the game badly. I'm sorry for the defeat and I am sad, but we have to keep it in perspective." Obviously, that perspective is that they have a healthy lead at the top of the table. They are doing well in the Champions League, etc. And, I saw Nacho straight after the game on La Liga TV basically implying that they probably took their foot off the gas with that kind of knowledge in mind. I still don't think that's acceptable. I certainly don't think that's acceptable in a Clásico at home to Barcelona, getting thumped 4-0. My goodness. Anyway, an interesting quote that's just came out as well by Courtois. He said, "At half-time, the coach tried to change something, but we didn't understand it. Ferran found himself alone against me 40 seconds after the kickoff." I mean, yeah, that just, if you needed a quote to summarise the sort of the thought process in that Madrid dressing room, I think it's right there, just all over the shop from a team who've been producing big results recently. So a real surprise to see that. But the reality of the match is it could have been about 7 or 8-0 to Barcelona. It was that It was that dominant. I mean, XG had a 4.3 to 0.6 in their favour. That's massive. They've now racked up 3+ XG in their last 4 games and 4+ in 2 of them. They just can't stop scoring. They love that 4-0 margin, don't they, Mikey? I mean, if we just to praise some more of that Barca squad, because there's so many people that we could pick out. Ousmane Dembélé, wow, we spoke about him on Continental Club the other day. Unbelievable. Now has 7 assists in 2022 alone. That's more than anyone else in Europe's top 5 leagues. Araujo was excellent, playing it at right back, wasn't he? Pedri too. I mean, I'll tell you the numbers, but you really just have to watch him to kind of take in his performances, because they are breathtaking. He got 3 tackles from 4, 3 dribbles, 88% pass accuracy, and a key pass too. But he's just tenacious. His ability to break away and sort of relieve pressure in front of the defence, his footwork is just magical. I mean, they really did miss him, didn't they, when he was injured at the start of the season. It's great to have him back, although, you know, Barca and Spain should have known better between them to play him so much last season. But he needs to be protected, because he is the future midfielder, I genuinely believe, certainly of that Spanish squad and in Barcelona. If we just look at the table quickly, Barca are now undefeated in 11 straight matches. They will overtake Sevilla if they win their game in hand. They'll still be 9 points behind Madrid. Could they catch them? Probably not, in my opinion. I think this will really give Madrid a kick up the arse that they need to get back to it. But, I mean, Mikey, are you concerned for Madrid, or do you just think this was just one blip horror show that they just need to move on from as quick as possible?
Well, I think it showed how reliant they are on Karim Benzema, for one. I think if he'd been on the pitch, they probably still would have lost, but nowhere near that margin. I think they probably could have got a goal or 2 as well if he'd been on that pitch. I think that attack just doesn't really function without him, does it? And also Ferland Mendy, who's, you know, been in and out of the side this year with injury. I think they've struggled quite a lot defensively when he's not been on the pitch, and they really did yesterday. Obviously Nacho, not a natural left back, Araujo, not a natural right back, but Araujo looked completely at ease for the whole game, didn't he, in that position? And Nacho was just letting everything get past him. I think it's just a bit unfair, really, to put him up against Ousmane Dembélé in this kind of form. So yeah, I think that those are mitigating factors. But yeah, they're nevertheless kind of worrying mitigating factors, aren't they? Because Benzema isn't getting any younger. Kylian Mbappe looks like a more necessary transfer than ever at this point. And also the midfield, like Ancelotti should have learnt, I think, from that PSG tie that you need a more dynamic, younger midfield to deal with, a more dynamic team. And Barcelona that midfield is, you know, as dangerous as it's been in the last few years. It might not be, like we were saying, you know, the kind of classic kind of tiki-taka kind of midfield that we've seen in the past. But, you know, Frankie, Pedri and Busquets are, you know, really, really on fire at the moment. And, you know, you need players who can track them constantly. And that Real Madrid midfield just isn't physically capable of doing that. There are worrying signs for Real Madrid, and I think we were discussing on Friday, go and watch it after this, Continental Club, about how the La Liga title race could shape up next season, because I think both of these teams are going to look slightly different next year, and I think it could shape up to be a really, really fascinating title race, because Barca just look like they're going places right now, don't they?
Absolutely, I completely agree. Even the news that Juventus might be coming in for Rudiger now from Chelsea, that could be a big, I thought like that would be a really important transfer for Madrid to get over the line next season if they were serious about that as well. So yeah, it is shaping up to be a massive title battle. We saw PK tweet, Barca are back, or something along the lines last night. Let us know in the comments down below if you agree, what you thought of this Barca side, what you think of this Xavi revolution taking place. So much quality off the bench as well. It's just ridiculous right now. Even Gavi coming on and playing excellent too. So it is very exciting. Let us know what your thoughts on that game. And we'll move on to our result of the week, which we've already had one, but we'll get another one for you.
So yes, result of the week, as if we hadn't talked about it already, but there was a huge result in France, Henry. Massive win for Monaco over PSG, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't really change much in the grand scheme of things in Ligue 1, but it's worrying signs for Pochettino. I'm beginning to think, will he last the end of the campaign? Anyway, as you said, Barcelona did take the result of the week. There were other big games going on around the continent. Ajax's 3-2 win over Feyenoord is a contender, given that was their third straight 3-2 win in the Eredivisie, all featuring late winners as well. So sort of having to dig deep over there. Cadiz moved out of the relegation zone with a last gasp winner against Villarreal, and a 1-0 victory. That's a massive result for them. Marseille got the better of Nice as well, 2-1 thanks to goals from Milik and Bakumbu. But yes, Monaco deserved their spot for, I think, startling thing about this match. It was just so easy. 3-0 win against PSG at the Stade Louis. I mean, Wissam Ben Yedder opened the scoring with a really awesome flick goal. I haven't seen one of those in a while. I don't know quite how he managed to do it. Before Kevin Volland slotted home the second half. I love that front pairing for some reason. Ben Yedder then got his third from the spot after Volland was brought down by Pascal Kimpembe, who, to be honest, had a bit of a sniffer in terms of his game this week. Ben Yedder now leads Ligue 1 in terms of goals scored on 17, one more than Kylian Mbappe. Such a consistent, solid striker, wherever he's been in the last sort of 6 years. And you know what? For Monaco, this was their third win in 4 against PSG, and their biggest victory over them in 23 years. They'll have really enjoyed this result. And PSG are racking up a bit of a bad run of results against their main rivals as well. We saw Nantes go winning 3 and 4 recently against them too. Nice as well. So yeah, worrying signs for them against the real big teams. For PSG also, this was their 4th consecutive away loss in all competitions. Their longest run of this type since December 2009 to January 2010. And if you consider how much the team has changed since then, it really shouldn't be happening, should it? Some startling defeats. And XG suggests the game should have been closer at 2.5 to 1.5. But I watched most of the match. I didn't see that at all. It was a dismal performance from the league and leaders, and they were well and truly beaten, weren't they, McCubs?
Yeah, I mean, both sides took 13 shots, 8 on target to Monaco to PSG's 6. But I mean, again, I think XG in games where, there's one team constantly chasing, they do tend to rack up XG, especially when they've got a forward line full of quality like PSG do. So that's only natural. But Monaco seemed to deal with them pretty well, didn't they? Yeah. The only time they really looked like scoring was when Mbappe rounded Alexander Nubel, only to fluff his effort. So yeah, a very, very deserved victory for Monaco, because they had plenty of chances of their own, as you were saying. Jean Lucas should have scored twice in the first half, unforgivably taking the ball off Ben Yedder, only to miss from inside the box with the goal gaping. Gianluigi Donnarumma also looked very shaky in what was his 12th start in the league. I think he's looked a bit under par by his standards in general this season. Obviously had an absolute shocker against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Essentially opened the floodgates, didn't he? So yeah, difficult first season for him, I think. Ben Yedder, though, rightly does deserve credit for his excellent display. So does Ruben Aguilar at right back. Thought he was really, really solid. Completed 81% of his passes, won 2 aerial duels, 5 clearances, 3 interceptions. Also won all of his tackles, kept Mbappe very, very quiet down the left flank. Yeah. And Youssouf Fofana was also very solid in central midfield. Exciting prospect at 23 years old. And of course, Tchouaméni, who's been linked with Real Madrid in the summer, hasn't he? I think they've really won the midfield battle in that sense. As for PSG, Neymar had a really poor game, 0 shots on target, didn't complete a dribble either. Achraf Hakimi also pretty quiet on the day, lost possession 16 times, didn't complete a dribble as well. So yeah, really, really poor. And as for Kimpembe, don't really want to kick a man while he's down, but I do think out of all top level defenders, and Kimpembe clearly is a good defender, he wouldn't be starting week in, week out for PSG for a number of years if he wasn't. But I must admit, out of almost any top level defender in Europe, I can't think of one who makes so many high profile errors as Kimpembe. The challenge for the penalty was kind of Phil Jones-esque, wasn't it? He does have calamity in him, and yeah, in games like this, it really costs you, doesn't it?
I think the thing about Kimpembe is because he's the academy product in that size. I think he's quite emblematic for the club, showing that we can push players from our academy into the first team. You can make it. I think Kimpembe's been put as that banner. and maybe that kind of is weighing on him a little bit. Maybe it's unfair pressure. I agree with you. He's a great player, but yeah, some absolute shocker moves in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a weird one considering how many players they've let go from their academy, isn't it? To kind of put that all on one guy. But yeah, Pochettino, yeah, not looking good for him, isn't it? He called the display unacceptable, called it a disgrace, in fact, in his post-match interview. Yeah, seems like a man really on the back foot at the moment. But of course, this defeat hasn't changed much, has it? Monaco are 7th. PSG is still 12 points clear of Marseille at the top. So yeah, nothing to worry about in this sense for PSG fans, but it is also a side that don't really have anything to play for at this point in the season. Haven't we seen that a few times before with PSG?
Absolutely.
But a big win for Monaco, who have had a difficult season themselves. But what did you make of this result, and what do you think about Pochettino's future at PSG? It looks increasingly likely he's going to leave in the summer, isn't he? But where do you see him going if that happens? Let us know in the comments below, and let's move on to our star of the week.
All right, it's time for Star of the Week, my favourite section, and we are honouring an English forward crushing it on the continent. Tammy Abraham. Mikey, what a weekend again for the former Chelsea man.
Yeah, I mean, before we get on to it very quickly, shout outs to honourable mentions. Serhou Guirassy, who netted a hat-trick in Rennes' 6-1 thumping of Metz to take them into the Champions League places. Victor Osimhen also bagged a vital double for Napoli in their 2-1 win over Udinese. Meanwhile, Jonas Omlin, 10 saves for Montpellier, including a penalty in their 2-0 win over strugglers Bordeaux. But yeah, we can't really look past Tammy Abraham, can we? Because he's just breaking records in Rome, and what a way to do so against your arch rivals, arguably the biggest rivalry in all of Italy. Scored twice as Rome won 3-0 against Lazio in an electric Derbi della Capitale. Both tap-ins in the box. I mean, the second one, I think, took some pretty good technique, actually, and pretty good timing. The first one, just comes off his thigh, doesn't it? Or his midsection, even. But yeah, it was the first brace in the derby since Francesco Totti in 2015, and he was looking on with a wry smile on his face, wasn't he, from the stands? Loved to see that. And Tammy's opener was the quickest goal in the rivalry's history on 56 seconds. So yeah, absolutely loving it. He now has 15 goals in Serie A and 23 in all competitions this term. That moves him clear of the legendary Gabriel Batistuta and Vincenzo Montella for goals in a debut Roma campaign. What a campaign he's having, and to spearhead a Mourinho team in Mourinho's debut season as well, I think is really impressive. I think Roma have impressed a lot, but I think it's a real sign of the progress that's been made in Rome this season. I think it was going slightly under the radar until now, and now they've really picked up form and are looking pretty, strong for that 5th place finish, aren't they? But Henry, what do you make of Tammy's season so far?
Oh, I love it. I'm in Rome next weekend. I'm going to hunt out a shirt with his name on it. Absolutely loving it so far. But yeah, what a great season. £36 million signing. I wasn't sure if that was an overspend at the time. It felt like it could have been, but he's justifying every single penny so far. Also netted a late winner midweek in the Europa Conference League against Vitesse as well. So important. From what I see, I think he's got the most goals in Europe's top 5 leagues of a forward in 2022. So in form. And Mourinho saying after the game he just wants more and more and more from him. Yeah, but I mean, it was a great performance for him, really. He should have netted a hat-trick, but he still scored twice from 3 shots and won 3 aerials, just leading that line with real aplomb. We saw him at the end just celebrating, just even making a tackle in front of... I mean, what an atmosphere. Both sets of fans waving, flags, everything. It looked like an iconic game, and I saw the boys at Ranks FC were over there enjoying it too, so I'm very jealous of that, must be said. Shout out to Lorenzo Pellegrini too. He was, a brilliant midfielder, isn't he? Netted a perfect free kick. I think he's up there with Ward-Prowse in terms of his free kick ability.
What was mad about that free kick was that Thomas Strakosha did so well to really get to it. Like the footwork and then the dive actually nearly saved it, and yet the free kick was that good that it still beat what would have been one of the great saves. Yeah, mad.
I completely agree. Postage stamp stuff, as they say. I mean, all in all, just such a good performance from Pellegrini. 3 tackles, 3 shots, 3 dribbles, 2 key passes. And actually, Rick Hardsdrop, I thought, was so good at right back too. He's basically dismissed Ainsley Maitland-Niles since he's come in. So yeah, shout out to him. But I mean, it's a tricky one for Roma in the league. They are playing really well. They're now unbeaten in their last 9 in Serie A. They've got that quarter-final in the Conference League up against Bodo Glimt. So a chance to sort of right some wrongs, I think, against them. But I mean, because of Atalanta's late victory over Bologna, they stay 6th. They're 8 points shy of Juventus in 4th. I just think getting Europa League football is probably going to be Roma's best bet next season. See if they can make a few more smart additions in the market and move forwards. It looks like he's been getting it right pretty much so far. Every transfer, Mourinho. And yeah, but I mean, for Abraham, what a night to remember in the Stadio Olimpico. Quickly, do you think he deserves some game time over Harry Kane, or would you just stick with Harry Kane for that England starting spot?
I think it would be good to try him out. You know, they're friendlies after all. Yeah, I don't see why not. He's well worth his place in the squad. I think it puts puts the arguments about Southgate not rating players, not playing in England. I think that throws a bit of shade on that theory. But obviously, he's one of the informed strikers in world football right now. So yeah, I think you give him a run out. Absolutely. I don't think he displaces Kane in competitive fixtures, but I think he absolutely deserves to start one of the next 2 games.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just awesome to see that move going so well for him. What do you think about Abraham's work over in Italy? Let us know in the comments down below. And that's all we've got time for our bumper edition of ERU this Monday. Mikey, just quickly, what should everyone go check out now if they haven't already?
Well, yeah, like I said, if you want to consume some more El Clásico content, we were speaking about Barcelona and Real Madrid on Continental Club last Friday, so go and check that out. And also, there was an absolute cracking episode of the Football Pyramid between the dynamic duo Henry Hill and Sam Abasaki that went out on Saturday. Go and check that one out. You definitely won't regret that.
Yeah, one for the ages, that one, that's for sure. All right, thanks everyone. Subscribe to the channel, all that stuff, you know what to do, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.